Welcome to the dust ward. Brain damage. But it's only permanent. Neuroplasticity. Fear. Punk band from the 80s at the latest inception, maybe the 70s, I don't know. Vizanko turned me on to them. They had a song called Welcome to the Dust Ward, and they said brain damage, but it's only permanent. And I think of neuroplasticity, how better to get permanent brain damage than have a good hit to the head as a small child. In classes, learned that the brain is a use it or lose it system perfectly. You know, what comes in, we know with language that the language you learn as a small child, there are other people that cannot imitate that because it comes in the early years. A language learning in itself is supposed to be at its highest between the ages of 2 and 14. That's what they call a critical period, I think. And some people it lasts longer. But these things, they're wiring themselves as you're first born. There's a huge wiring. You've got an overplus of brain cells, and as you learn what your culture has to do with you and what you have to do with it, it wires, it sends pathways, highways, the most streamlined shot to where you're going. And the other stuff, the foliage on the wood line, it just kind of dies off. And so if you get a brain injury later in life, this is neuroplasticity. If you get a brain injury later in life, you're less likely to recover in a way that allows you to keep going because you've got less brain cells and all that stuff. But at a younger age, if you get a good knock to the head, it grows around the scar tissue. Plasticity, neuroplasticity, neuro meaning nerves, of course, and but plasticity, that's the one we don't think about so much. It's about like plastic. People don't realize plastic is something that's fluid. They think of it as a hard object. You got your chair in the background and all that. You've got a fluid process. You can form plastic any way you want it to be. And so you've got neuroplasticity. And these pathways, once when you get hit in the head, when you're running around in a room at 2 years old, I was told by my mother that I was at the 6-month thing standing up, and the doctor on the bed thing, and the doctor came in and said, Jesus, what the hell is that? And 6 months standing there looking at you. He said that was highly unusual. But So I'm running around at 2 years old, sweating. I remember it. And I said, I need a drink, but I'm a big boy now. And I grabbed a chair away from the table where my mother was smoking cigarettes with my godmother, who was also smoking cigarettes in the kitchen. And my aunts, I thought it was funny that my aunts always smoked at the kitchen table. Well, who doesn't? And so I grabbed the chair, climbed up on it, and I got up there, and I was pouring water, and boom, went out from under me. I wasn't as good at balance as I thought I was. And I saw the cabinet doors going by my face, and then everything went black. And then I stood there, up in the corner of the room, looking down as my mother and my grandmother were putting this little brown jacket on me, the one with the hood, my winter jacket. They were putting that on me on the couch. I was watching me. I was like a rag doll. I was nothing. And they took me to the hospital. And then I remember waking up, and I was in a cage. A roof with bars, and we always used to like, we'd act like monkeys for the pictures as kids. I can verify that. It's in all our pictures. But I saw all these people, and I said, God. I decided to act like a monkey because I thought that was funny. I thought that's what funny was. All these doctors standing there with my mother standing over the shoulder of the one doctor. And I jumped up and I grabbed the bars and I said, ha, 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 ha. And I went crazy. I was making a joke. I was acting like a monkey. And I remember the look on my mother's face over the doctor's shoulder. And I asked her years later, I said, what the hell is that? I remember that look. Everything I said, well, maybe you can convince people to tell you the things you want to hear, but as far as I know, it was all true. And about that thing, when I asked her about it, she said, I remember that. She said, I remember looking over his shoulder when you came to and jumped up like a monkey. And she thought, and there was a look of concern on her face. She thought, oh my God, is he gonna stay like that? And she said, and you did. And I was like, ha ha ha. But she also said, I became like a baby after that. Everything I was at the age that I was, it was just like an infant newborn. I had to be retrained and everything. I do remember even escaping those bars. That was my first escape. One night in the middle of the night, it was pitch black, all lights were out. I don't remember how I did it, but I broke out of the cage and I was caught in the closet with a puppet going, ha 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 ha. You know, so escape artist, ta-da. And cigarette went out. Thing is, brain damage, but it's only permanent. Makes me wonder. Neuroplasticity, you know, that creates divergent thought processes. At a young age, you've got this superfluous, this overplus, this huge amount of brain cells that are there that just are waiting to be used. And so if you've already learned something, it's just bam, you know, it's going to go around it. It's going to create new pathways. That's neuroplasticity. And so you get a person that thinks in different ways. You're connecting different parts of the brain that aren't normally connected. You're making one outrageous little fucking pathway that throws different ideas around. But brain damage, but it's only permanent. It can come from neuroplasticity, or it can come from what the true meaning of the word meme, a culturally inherited trait. You're getting damaged from the time you fall into a family. If you don't hit your head hard enough, you'll never see the truth.